blood is like your checking account. Your tissues like your organs or your savings account. Now, we hope to never pull from savings to pay for checking if you don't have to, right? I mean, plenty of us do it all the time, just like we do it with our diet all the time.
Such a great freaking analogy.
Thank you. I can look at someone's hair analysis. We can see if someone is bipolar or manic and not even have to like tell them or give them a painful label that they're going to then adopt possibly for the rest of their life. Instead, we just help them change it. Isn't that great? And it took me years of doing this to really understand and be able to explain it to you how clearly the body works. And here's how it works.
Welcome to another episode of Special Ops Podcast, where we give actionable steps to direct response marketers. Today, we're talking to my guy, Barton Scott.
That's
and
right.
we're just going to talk about all kinds of funky things like how to live optimally. We spend so much time optimizing and monetizing our offers and our money. How do I monetize me? And so there was a pivotal moment. We're friends, so I can do this, yeah?
Yeah.
There was a pivotal moment in your life that changed everything. Can you tell me about the day your mom died?
My mom, I woke up and I knew something was wrong before I even reached for my phone. I knew that at first I thought something was wrong with me. It was one of those like before you're fully awake scans, asleep on a Sunday afternoon, taking a nap, just healthy, life's going great. Got, two older sisters at this point and my family. And I noticed that my intuition says, oh, it's one of your parents. And in the next breath, it's your mom. And one of them is gone and it's her. And so, and I still haven't even reached for my phone at this point. And so sure enough, I see text and calls from both sisters, which on the same day, that point in my life was just, it wasn't going to happen. Not the same day, like back to back. So I get in the car and drive from Austin back to Louisiana. And sure enough, she's in the hospital. She's had an aneurysm. And, here we go. And she goes on to never wake up. Yeah. And what I learned from that is that it was all preventable and all reversible. And we just didn't have the tools yet.
And so you went on a mission too?
Went on a mission to make sure that didn't happen to other people as much as I could. And that's what we do today.
And that's how we met.
And that's how we met.
I was on 28 drugs when I met you.
28. Wow. I didn't know that. I don't think I knew that until right now.
I was on 28 different medications. I'm on one now.
But we worked on some.
We worked on
a lot.
27 of them, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how much Travis loves that you got me off Adderall. But I had been on a Ritalin or an Adderall since I was 8.
Yeah.
And a lot of the medication I was on.
That is just crazy to me.
A lot of them. Well, I don't think I would have been a high earner if I wasn't, because there wasn't the tools then. So I'm really glad, because I'd probably be working at a pizza shop, walking in circles all day. And so I'd love for you I met you at a dinner actually that Travis invited me to. And we were talking about BSLs in Vegas many years ago. And we went on to become friends and chat about things that I normally don't talk to other people about. For whatever reason, you have this beautiful, comfortable aura about you. But I feel like I spent so much time trying to figure out how to make more money and make more money and make more money, instead of how do I become more focused so I can make more money in less time? Or how can I free myself of things that are not making me feel good, things that are making me tired. Yeah. I'm still tired. I'm getting older. But I don't have the same
bottomed out.
I was bottoming out. I would have these bursts of energy, and then man, I would bottom out. And so you taught me something about minerals. And
which we see that, to just jump in, we see that in our testing. We exactly what you described.
Talk about your testing.
I can look at someone's hair analysis, and our team does this all the time for people. Literally right now it's happening as we're talking. around the world, and we can see if someone is bipolar or manic, and not even have to like tell them or give them a painful label that they're going to then adopt possibly for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Instead, we just help them change it. Isn't that great?
Isn't that great?
So we do that. And I'm sure had we done the test then, I'm certain that you would have been in that low level. And I've also been in that level before when I was on Vyvanse, which was the most damaging nutritional mistake I ever made in my life. Which, you know, when you look at it, it's in the methamphetamine category. Vyvanse, it is. But back to your story. So I just wanted to put that in at a perfect time.
This is actually what I wanted to talk about. Like, mind blown that a mineral, you never hear about minerals.
Yeah, you don't.
You never hear about minerals. Mineral deficiencies cause more disease and more harm than anything else.
That's right.
And I remember you telling me it's worse than the cigarettes you're smoking. I was smoking a Newport out back at an event in
It really gets people.
Scottsdale. And you walked out and you said being deficient in a mineral is worse for your body than that cigarette you're smoking.
Wow. That was, man, I got to remember that. That was good.
It was a profound. It was a, you do
That's
way
good.
too
It's
many
also
drugs.
true, but it's good.
I believe it's true because you said it, but
Yeah.
I'd love for you just to kind of talk about that. Like what is it about that? And what do you do about it?
About cigarettes and minerals.
He does shame me every time he sees me smoke. But seriously, how do I know if I have a mineral deficiency?
Yeah.
And what do I do to fix it?
Yeah. So one, smoke more cigarettes. No, I'm kidding. The way really is to look at tissue. And so I've started saying something only recently, which is, to give it a money context, a money metaphor for this is, we're testing tissue. Why aren't we testing blood? What's the best test? If anything was possible and money was irrelevant, what would we test? We'd still test tissue. And your hair is tissue. And it's a lot easier than biopsying your liver or something. And a lot less painful, invasive, costly, all these things. It's actually even more accurate for different reasons I won't go into right now than even if we did that. But that's beside the point. So finding the best method is something we're able to do right, a couple years before my mom passed. And by the way, I was also struggling with all my issues. Like for anyone that has any health issue, it may not look like it exteriorly because thanks to wrestling, I was always managing weight. I was always fit. I was always, whatever. But I was brain fogged out of my mind. I had tremendous heavy metals, like all of them. I had super low, fill in the blank, magnesium, sodium, all these things, which led to Crohn's, IBS, thyroid issues, low thyroid, hypothyroid, Hashimoto's. So many things that were never diagnosed, that were never talked about, that were eventual diseases. But I was also so young at that point that it takes a little while for the body to continue maladapting, and therefore a state of dis-ease, a lack of ease begins, which is really, to go to root, and we'll come back to this, is lack of ease. The answer is almost there. What doesn't have ease, and how do we give it ease? So we have cells that all they want to do is do their job. It's like having an ops team that you're overseeing, and you're like, why are you guys like? What are you struggling with? And if we could speak that language well, things would. And we had the delivery system that we have with our supplements, we would be able to solve this so easily. So the cell wants to do two things, and your whole body needs this to be healthy. You know what those two things are? It needs to produce energy and take out the trash. That's it. That's really it. And when you do that, you have great hormones, you have a great sex life, you have a great life in general, you have a great everything. You're creative, you're smart, you're witty, you're fun. Life is engaging, and you're engaging with it. And you get into flow states, and you get into this place of like, life is fun, life's awesome, your mood's up. You start to, good things come into your life. The opposite is also true, if all of that's right. If you feel clogged if you are clogged on a cellular level, you will be clogged emotionally. You'll probably be clogged. You'll be constipated, literally. And all of these things mean that you're reabsorbing toxins and everything's getting worse. So it's always either getting worse or getting better, right? Just like in business, right? So, so there's this metaphor to answer that question on tissue and how do you test, which is, I started calling it like the three places you put your money. It's just like that in the body, 3 body systems. So you have your blood, which we love to test. We love to test the blood. Why? I don't know. Someone thought about this a long time ago, but they never really consider how the body works. And it took me years of doing this to really understand and be able to explain it to you how clearly the body works. And here's how it works. And this is important for every entrepreneur that wants to optimize energy, have enough energy to have a family and also have a business. Like what a concept, right? And
it takes a lot.
It takes a lot.
And a lot of us neglect one or the other.
So much, right? And not even because we don't intend to or we set out with, it's because there's only so much focus to fix only so many problems in a day. Right. And we feel like we have to do this or we have, So here's the rub. So you have your blood, which is easy to test, but blood is like your checking account. Now, if I looked at your checking account, that's not a very good indication of how much money you have, right? Not necessarily, not for some people.
Wealth necessarily, right?
Wealth, exactly.
Yeah,
now, hopefully, if you have a lot of wealth, it's not all in your checking account, right? So you have your checking, you have your savings account. So your blood is your checking, your tissues, like your organs, or your savings account. Now, we hope to never pull from savings to pay for checking. If you don't have to, right? I mean, plenty of us do it all the time, just like we do it with our diet all the time.
Wow.
That's such a great freaking analogy.
Thank you. And I've got one more for you.
Okay.
Your bones or your retirement account. And God, I hope you never have to pull from your retirement account to put it in your checking account.
Wow.
But so many of us do it not only every day, but as you're listening to this, unfortunately, you're doing it right now, almost surely, if you're most people. Because how does osteo everything, pinia, porosis, any other bone dis-ease, lack of ease happen? You've been doing that for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And we could have, here's the rub, again, we could have saw that a decade or more ago in tissue. But what you'll see when you test blood right now and you get a in-range reading, and hey, Travis, hey, Emma, you're good. I know you didn't come here to just have fun with me, the doctor, and look at your blood test. You didn't drive across town. You didn't have
Travis likes rectal exams.
So, well,
not a thing.
He's like, not true. Fake news. So, because we obviously want to find the solution, if we've spent the time, driven across town, most likely, so all of these things to sit with a doctor that's most likely going to, unfortunately, the way the system's built, not their fault, going to disrespect your time, disrespect probably you, probably talk down to you, probably, and if you're like most people, like that's your solution. Like if I gave most people a credit card and say, go find your test online, you've got 20 minutes, timer set, they wouldn't come up with solutions. They would come up with maybe a booked appointment so they could get a test, which is the other thing that we do for people that we don't talk about nearly enough, which is we democratize wellness by making a test easy and a consultation with that test. And you don't have to get someone's permission to get this test, because why the fuck should you?
Right. It's really funny that you say this, because you gave me a bunch of tests to go get. Do you remember what my doctor said? Do you remember what he said?
No.
Like, what's wrong with you?
I don't think he told me, to be honest.
I did. You sent me the girl that did this whole spit thing because of it. He wouldn't run the tests.
Oh, yeah.
He would not run the tests.
Because they don't know them.
He's like, this is unnecessary. This is a waste of resources.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, you ran $3,000 in blood work.
That was a waste.
And $4,000 in body scans.
Right.
But I'll pay for it. It's a waste of resources. He would not run it.
I have a great follow-up for that, because we haven't talked about this part for sure, which is what were the actionable, and this is always my question for people, what actionable steps, and it's a great parallel to business, are you taking with the data you got? So what did he tell you? Emma, do this, don't do that, don't that actually was good advice.
He actually told me to do a whole bunch of stuff that you called me when you found out, if you remember. I don't really want to get into it all. I don't really want to get into the specifics. You probably don't remember anyway, apparently. But he told me he
debatable whether we cover debatable.
Okay, we're not going to find out. But he told me to do a bunch of stuff, and you had. I don't remember how you found out, but you had found out about it, and you actually called me. In the middle of something that you were doing.
Yeah,
I think you were filming
that.
podcasts or something, and you were like, I'm going to call you back. Do not do that. I'm sending you a hair test, and we're going to figure this out.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I went and did it because, I was pressured.
Right. Yeah.
And they pressured me. But
pressured and sunk cost analogy too.
Right. But the
fallacy.
actionable, to answer your question, the actionable stuff was expensive.
Mm-hmm.
None of it worked. And it led me to be on
the non-actionable.
Probably 10 of the medications that I was on when we met were to help with side effects
from
the medication I was on.
Yeah.
Like, I remember they told me if I went off anti-rejection medication, do you remember this? They told me I'd be dead in 3 months.
Yeah.
And I kept forgetting the medication. I would end up sick all the time. It was absolutely terrible. And they kept telling me, you will not live. No one has ever lived. That's what they told me. No one has ever lived. And I don't take it.
Yeah, there you go. So there's a great stat, a third of deaths are caused by doctors and bad advice. And these are well-meaning people in a bad fishbowl where all the rules, all the incentives are against them. You have people think, so many people still think the hospitals are, in their favor, and they're not just cash registers.
They're cash registers.
Like, and that is such we need a whole nother word that we don't have, like infinite cash registers that are,
if people
they're
understood,
printing their own cash registers.
If people understood the amount of money that pharmacies spent sending people into hospitals and doctor's office to get them to prescribe the medications and the incentives that those doctors get.
Right.
For prescribing those medications
Can we get
is insane.
Can we get a 2020 vision into that as a business? If someone could start that would be miraculous to see what are those incentives? Because why?
I can tell you a whole bunch of them. I researched this like crazy. I can tell you a whole bunch of them.
When you buy a home, we know what the commission the agent's getting, right?
Well,
why don't we know the commission your doctor is getting on your health, which is way more important than your home?
Right. I don't want to get into the whole government and pharma conspiracy thing, but no, it's a real thing, dude. And I remember introducing you to another dear sweet friend of mine, Qasim Islam.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I remember calling him after you guys had met, and I said to him, how was it? How'd it go? I knew what he was going to say because I had experienced you. And he said, I think this dude just saved my life.
Mm.
And Emma, I mean, literally. That's what he said. And we trust these people that we spend so much money on who don't even take the time to listen to us.
And they don't have any nutrition education.
No.
I am a nutritionist.
Well, you are.
No. Hold on. Let's discuss this for a minute.
Okay.
I'm a nutritionist. My undergrad is in nutrition. I'm an RD. And the things that I was taught about nutrition is absolutely asinine and so bad for you. And to believe that we should be eating 9 to 11 servings of bread a day. That's what it was back then. I don't know what it is today. But 9 to 11 servings of bread a day is
insane.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing. But
the joke is that you could spin that food pyramid upside down and it would be pretty good.
If you look at the food pyramid,
it's terrible still,
what is the most if you look at the food pyramid, what is the perfect meal looking at the food pyramid?
Oh my God. I haven't looked at it.
A piece of pizza that is the works. If you think about this. If you take the bread and the vegetables and the fruit and the meat and you put that all on a piece of bread with some tomato sauce, it literally could be a piece of pizza. It isn't actually, but it could be.
So I always say eat not for your blood type or whatever fad thing that we used to say, but eat for your deficiencies and test, don't guess in that area.
Yeah.
Which is something that I trademarked a while ago. Plenty of companies use it. I'm okay with that. I just want to make sure we could use it because it's so fundamental to how we look at things. We have some of the best supplements.
Test, don't guess.
Some of the best tools for
Test, don't guess. Is that it?
Test, don't guess.
I'd like to just add, because like my experience with you, because I've known you for a long time, right? Like Emma said, we met at a conference and had dinner together, and it was like, oh, wow. And the thing that impressed me is the things, like lots of people sell supplements. I don't know anybody else who's selling minerals.
Yeah.
I just
not
right?
at least.
And it's not just that.
The full flight.
It's not just the minerals, right? But it's also the way that you guys put that together.
Yeah.
And then also that you start with an assessment. You start with a hair analysis assessment that okay, not only can you figure out like where there's deficiencies, but then also there's retesting so you can see like what difference is actually made.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll go one better.
Most people
there's
would not
testing,
wanna
and then
do.
there's a consultation to tell you what to take.
Yes.
You're not just here's this thing and go figure it out.
Right.
There's a test. There's a consultation. There's a book full of stuff that you can buy. And then there's another test so that you can get off that stuff when when it's time for you to get off it and go on whatever else.
Well, and here's the other thing is like from my own experience, the consultation's not like, here, take all these supplements. It's like maybe there's some supplements that we sell, but there's these other supplements.
Yes.
And here's some dietary things that you should be adding to your to what you're eating.
Exactly.
Here's some lifestyle changes that you should be making.
Yeah, the consultation isn't an upsell.
No.
Yeah.
The consultation is
like
actually
real.
direction towards health. Because what did you say to me? I don't need to push to make money. If I do right, if I do good, the money will come.
Yeah.
I remember you said that to me.
Wow. Yeah. Still how I feel about it. It's it's not a great investor attracting strategy, but at the same time, like that's why I think conversations like these, it's why I do it, right?
Yeah.
And I want it, and could we sell our supplements for twice as much? Some of them, yeah, we could. Yeah. But I also wanted them to be affordable, going back to the question you asked to start off about what happened. You know, your mother died. What impact was that? Well, she was a retired, educator. Both of my parents were, school teachers, really. My dad was a principal. She was a librarian, English teacher. And so if they couldn't afford it, did I really solve her problem? No. So we have one of the most affordable tests, and test and consultation together. It's super affordable. Anyone can scrape together that price point and get it done. And ideally, you do it quarterly. You do it however often you can afford to, I guess. But
or how you're feeling. Yeah. I know that you don't love that, but how you're feeling.
Yeah, I mean the thing is who you are today is of course different than whoever you're sitting next to, whoever you're raising, whoever raised you. But it's also different because our protocol works than you'll be in 3 months. So of course you're going to need a new map.
Right.
I often say, imagine we're on a road trip and we look at navigation once, whether it's old days where you had the paper map, or we look at our phone once. We key in the destination. We're here in Cabo today. I mean in Cancun, and we want to go to Cabo. And we look at the map once, and we just get behind the wheel, and we just go.
I'm just gonna follow the sun.
And we just don't look at it again. Like it's the craziest thing. When even Tony Robbins will say, what's the base here? We've got this pyramid. The base level of the pyramid, health. Obviously, it's not rocket science. It's like energy. With in calculus, you'd say the limit approaches zero. You're dead. As the limit approaches zero, you have no energy. As it approaches infinite, it means you can do infinitely more.
Right.
And have more and be more and contribute more.
It blows my mind.
Which is really what, on a soul level, we're here to do, I believe. And you can't fulfill your soul's wishes without energy.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
It blows my mind how our industry, particularly, spends so much time on biohacking. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it, because it's all good for you. Cold plunging, breath work, meditation, IVs, NLP, all of these things that we spend time so we can be better focused.
I do all of these things, but you still.
But then on top of it, we're taking methamphetamine so that we can be focused enough to get our creative crap done, or our ops crap done, or whatever it is. And instead of just a simple test, and then and then feeding those deficiencies. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, eat for your deficiencies, and so you're right. Yeah, in the consultation, we'll recommend plenty of foods.
Yeah,
we don't get paid for that. We don't get paid for recommending vitamins or supplements that we don't sell. We don't have affiliate deals on the back end. I mean, we could, and there would be nothing wrong with that at all. We've just been busy doing other things. So, yeah. I mean, we're in the business to get people well, and if that's not a value add, I don't know what is. Yeah. And if that doesn't create word of mouth, I don't know what will.
You built your whole business off that.
We did. Yeah. We've only recently started running ads.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Even though we've tried, it wasn't one of the things that
you wanted to spend your time on.
Yeah,
and I love that about you. Yeah. You're more interested in helping people, meeting people, networking with people, and making yourself happy.
Yeah, totally. And now we're shifting into this phase of, all right, we've really proven things. We even have clinical trials that we totally don't need to have. And so we have that unreasonable, undeniable level of proof. And so now it really is about, helping, 100 times, 1,000 times more people.
Love all of that. Barton, thank you so much. So action steps: get tested, see where you're at, get tissue tested. See where you're at. Barton's company is Upgraded Formulas. Barton is an amazing human being, and his company is phenomenal. Both Travis and I take his supplements.
Thank you. Thank you for
and have experienced him in all sorts of ways and how he's shown up. So thank you so much, Barton. Appreciate you, buddy.
This was so fun. Thank you both for having me. Yeah, I hope this was helpful.